welcome back. So this is the third day of my dietetic internship, and I am an intern at St. David Central in downtown Austin. I didn't record anything my first day. My second day I was a little frazzled and exhausted, but I just wanted to check in and say how it went. So the first day was kind of hard for me, to be honest. I was reading a lot of my other intern fellows' first days, and I was like, oh man, sounds like they had an amazing time, and I didn't want to be negative and be like, oh man, that was really rough. It was an information overload for me. My preceptor kind of went over all the policies and everything, which is really important. I was just like, dang, there's a lot that goes into this, and in the combination of nerves and being like, what is going on? I just was like, oh, mentally exhausted by the end of it. But I was really appreciative of her being so thorough and just showing me around the whole facility and just the energy and being just so welcoming. They have breakfast and lunch together, and I got to sit with them outside and hear about their lives and hear about how they balance it all, being a dietitian, being a mother, or going to other classes. It was just a real eye-opening experience on that first day. So I really very much appreciated it. I just was very exhausted by the end of it. My second day was amazing. So the way that my clinical rotations work is that I will essentially have 4 weeks of just general MNT, where I would see things like diabetes, just heart failure, ortho, and stroke, things like that, general incidents that happen and cause admin to the hospital. Also bloody stools, nausea, vomiting that is persistent, oncology, patients, and then essentially I go into another few weeks of nutrition support. So this has to do with TPN, total parental nutrition, or internal tube feedings, and just those calculations, being more intricate with that. And then the last part of my internship is staff relief, and she's giving me my schedule on Monday, but that part is where I will actually be a dietitian, and not a dietitian, but fulfilling the role as a dietitian and filling out my own charts and just showing that I can be sufficient in that role. So I'm nervous about that, but I'm just a sponge. I'm absorbing everything. The med tech, or their system that they use, is super ancient, but I'm getting used to it, and it's a lot easier than you think, because they have the nutritional intervention, nutritional diagnosis, and evaluation and monitoring terminology already in their system. And they have all the handouts, the resources that you provide to patients and use for yourself. It's okay to come in and not know. That's why you go back to your office, you collect the data, you refresh, and you'll kind of just over time, I've realized dietitians just keep refining their practice and keep practicing to the way things become concrete in your mind. It's kind of like when you teach other people just that strategy, right? You teach other people what you know, and it just makes your knowledge get stronger. So I'm just thinking about it like that, and that's really exciting for me. So the second day was good, and we essentially went around. I was on the ortho narrow floor, so we saw a lot of stroke patients, and it was just kind of interesting to see all the different types of patients, what their ideas were, how they perceived a dietitian, and what their goals were with us, and did they want us to be there? Were they bothered by us there? Were they thankful for us being there? And just seeing how the dietitian I was shadowing goes about asking questions, and asking those important questions that are often forgot about, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. So, and thinking about physical parents, doing an NFPE, And then all the precautions in the hospital, such as we had one patient that was positive for COVID, like things like that. But it was exciting, and then I got to see how she charts and how she likes to write her like nutrition assessment. So it's really interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. And I just wanted to check in and say how I'm doing. I'm gonna be creating this little list of things that I'm like, oh, this would be good to touch up on before going into a dietetic internship. So I'm gonna create a list of like abbreviations, because there's a lot of abbreviations that I'm not aware of. Even though I've been exposed to a lot, I'm like, oh dang. And a lot of hospitals are different with their abbreviations. Definitely review your hospital's policies and procedures, and like what the dietitians are responsible for in your facility, because some dietitians are able to write diet orders while others are not. So that's something to be aware of in certain facilities. And yeah, so just things like that. And also, what else am I, like how to approach a patient, like what the interview process looks like, and important questions that should be considered when you're in a clinical care setting seeing acute care patients, and what follow-up times generally look like, and what like essentially that sort of stuff. Because when going in, I didn't really know a lot about this stuff, and if you have the opportunity in undergrad, I highly recommend taking a medical terminology class and getting a second language like Spanish, and doing a medical terminology class in Spanish, because that just makes you such a stronger person and such a stronger candidate for these programs, and also it just makes you more like malleable and gives you more opportunities to see patients. So those are my little tokens of advice right now. I gotta go in, so wish me luck on my third day, and thank you for watching.